These are some Dinar Guru updates, starting off with Paulette says, we know Trump has been demanding that the Iranian armed factions are disarmed and dismantled in Iraq. Sadani's talked a good game early after Trump's demand and then never took action. Sadani recently said he would not deal with them until after the U.S. troops leave in September of 26. Hopefully, Sadani is just trying to placate the armed factions to get reappointed to the PM position and then promptly thereafter comply with Trump's demand. The Iranian armed factions actually gained strength and have been elected to between 60 and 70 seats. Sadani's coalition only controls 45 seats. The coordinating framework, which includes Sadani's coalition and the coalitions of the armed factions, control about 175 seats if they all agree. Paulette goes on to say, we also read that the coordinating framework is balking on having Sadani appointed. They're saying it's between Sadani and Hamid al-Shatri. Shatri was appointed by Sadani as the head of Iraqi intelligence. Shatri has recently asserted with Syria that he has control of the armed factions in Iraq and that he will not allow them to enter Syria after the Syria regime change. It looks highly unlikely that there will be any agreement to appoint the next PM without the MPs that are backed by the armed factions. Will Trump settle for a PM that at least has control of the armed factions? While we may see the Delete the Zeros project fully implemented, which is the RD/RV, the Trump administration will not allow the RI until after Iranian-backed armed militias are disarmed and dismantled. After all, we read that there are 239,000 of them in Iraq. This is the issue to watch closely, in my opinion, according to Paulette. Frank 26 is, as far as Sadani telling us the fourth quarter of 25, I believe him in the sense he's showing you and telling you everything now in 25 belongs to 2026. Everything that he showed you in 25 will be put in your hands, or as they're saying, be put on the ground in 26. Dr. Shabibi made it very clear that it should happen at the start of the first quarter. I believe he's looking for the start of the first quarter at the beginning of 26, looking for a weekend with an extra day. It's no longer a guessing game, and we know exactly when it's going to be revealed, sometime in 26. All right, Walking Stick says they're desperately going to return as many 3-0 notes back to the CBI. The biggest reward, the biggest compensation of all this monetary reform is not just the Iraqi citizens, but it will be the United States of America through contracts and because it's time to pay up. Right, Pimpy says nobody is going to know what the exchange rate is because once it free floats, the market determines the value of the Iraqi dinar. Central Bank of Iraq can tell that they're predicting what the exchange rate is going to be, but even they don't have any idea of what exchange rate is going to be because you're allowing the public to determine the value of the Iraqi dinar. All right, Militiaman says everything lines up perfectly for central bank to move the rate first. When the rate moves to reflect real purchasing power, the rear adjustment that we've been waiting for, every single law, budget line, oil contract, and import becomes 20% to 25% cheaper in dinar terms overnight. It could be significantly more than that. To me, it's exactly why the hush has been so loud, because that's how they're doing it. They're avoiding specifically saying, but their actions are telling it clearly in a very loud manner. All right, Claire article quote from Barzani, the agreement to resume Kurdistan region oil exports is temporary and we are concerned about it. Barzani said that the oil and gas law currently enforced in Iraq is old and does not suit the current stage, stressing that the agreement to resume oil exports from Kurdistan region is temporary, that a permanent agreement would be based on the existence of an oil and gas law enacted by the Iraqi parliament. Frank 26, Iraq Boots on the Ground report. Omar says some Iraqi citizens are afraid because they think it will be the last time when the rate changed. It made it worse for us in our prices, our goods. Frank says, I'm here to tell you, Iraqi citizens, that no, you shouldn't fear. You should start getting ready for it. And lastly, Mountain Goat has an article quote, Al-Hashimi, the formation of the government will not be delayed much longer. And the next stage is a test of the economic reality. When the article refers to economic reality, this statement is all telling. The momentum of the last 4 years must not stop. These 4 years must culminate in a reinstatement.